This season, we broke the record for contracts, 39 contracts. The previous record before that was season 4, 37. So the last two tonight, we were tied tonight, put it at 39. 156 contracts awarded this season. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't sure if you had another stat for us. Those are incredible numbers. I mean, especially with the 39 contracts. I know you never go into a season thinking about how many you're going to give out, but did you ever envision that you would break your previous record of
I don't know.
contracts?
I didn't even know what the record was going into this season. You know, it could be 2, it could be, 39, it could be whatever. I don't know. We come here, we fight, and I don't even think about it.
And now we've reached the end of the season. What an incredible season, what incredible matchmaking, what incredible fights. When you look back on the season, I guess as you kind of recap it in your mind, what are some of the highlights that stand out for you? Is it just looking back and thinking of all the great fights that happened? But when you look back on the season, what are you proudest about?
Well, tonight, it's all good. When we do so many fights, like as soon as this press conference is over, I'm getting on the plane and I'm flying to New York. So it's like, I just got back from Abu Dhabi yesterday, and it just, you do so many fights, it all just starts to become a blur. But I don't know if you guys saw tonight. There's it's called Dana White's Contender Series, the next step, or something like that.
Yeah, it's where it details the
It follows them. They follow them home out of here. And what happens when they get home. And so the first one that's coming out of CJ for this weekend, and I watched it today. It's pretty cool. And you get to see how much this opportunity impacts their life and what it means to them and what it means to their family. And it's pretty cool. It was a cool perspective for me coming into tonight. You know what I mean? You guys should check it out. I think you'll enjoy it.
If anything else, that's another selling point for why somebody wants to come on the show. I mean, I guess for fighters, how did you guys decide on CJ, and who makes that decision as for who to maybe follow in the follow-up after this? Like when you followed CJ for the teaser that was showed on it with CJ Vergara.
Yeah.
Like why was he the one, and I guess who picks that to decide who you guys are going to follow after?
The guys who are producing the show, yeah. So our crew decides who they're going to follow. There's 13 of them right now. So we have 13 episodes of this right now, and obviously there will be more. I was going to tell you something, but I forgot what the hell I was going to say.
Is that something that just sort of came out of this season, or is that something coming into this season that you guys were hoping to do?
Yeah, so there's 2 shows that are coming out of this season. That one that follows them home, and then we're putting together their fights that are going to go up on. We have a window inside ESPN Plus. Then when it goes outside the window, all this stuff's going to go on YouTube. And I think Laura Sanko's doing it. I'm not sure who's doing it, but what I wanted was somebody to break down who these guys are, who they're fighting now in the UFC, and then show their fight from the Contender Series. We're putting those up on YouTube too. So there'll be 2 different shows coming out of this season of the Contender Series. And I mean, I don't have to tell you guys sit here through the whole season with me. How awesome are these fights? I mean, I told you a few weeks ago, it's got to be the second best library in MMA. I mean, these kids come and fight their asses off. Tonight was a little weird, but normally it's like holy shit moment after holy shit moment.
And I know us, that we're always here, so we always definitely enjoy it. But looking at going to like ESPN, what sort of things are you hearing from them? Has the show been killing it on ESPN Plus as well?
Yeah. No, I mean, you guys must see it in your business. I mean, this thing's on fire right now. I mean, we're on fire. This last weekend, they don't give us the actual numbers, but last weekend was the biggest fight night since we've been with ESPN. We crushed it on ESPN Plus. You can imagine the card was awesome, highly anticipated, and yada yada. Plus, last weekend I broke all my social media records, mine personally, last weekend, and UFC broke some records too as far as social media goes. And now we're rolling into New York, and this card is absolutely ridiculous. So.
And I will just, since you brought up New York, I will just sort of ask, how are things looking for New York? What sort of feedback are you getting? I know that the tickets sold out really quickly, but I guess what's been some of the biggest challenges that maybe popped up to getting New York to actually happen that you had to overcome?
I've made it very clear the last couple of months I was nervous heading into New York, but everything's been smooth so far. We got a lot of people on the ground there that have been there for days. Everything's smooth. I'll be there tonight and start doing all my stuff tomorrow morning. And so far so good. So.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yes.
All right, and then jumping back tonight, Maheshati, the first Chinese fighter to win and get signed from for the Contender Series. How important is that? Because we saw some different Chinese fighters come on different weeks. How important was it to hopefully land somebody from that market in this series?
Yeah, like I said, this kid's young, and he's obviously very green, tough, durable. First of all, I already think he's incredibly tough. Weathered the storm in that first round, kept himself composed when he was in bad situations, then came out in the second round, went back to work, started doing what he needed to do, I'm assuming doing what his corner was telling him, and then he eventually broke Achilles. Achilles didn't do anything in the third round. And I'm no doctor, but I've seen a few of these. I'm pretty sure he has a broken orbital.
Could be.
You know what I mean? I think he has, and if it comes back that he has a broken orbital, he's even 1,000 times tougher than I already thought he was. He's young. He's going to need some work, but man, he's got a lot of promise. This kid.
And early on in the night, and I know in seasons past, in this season, it was always sort of brought up the fighters need to bring it. They need to have, tonight it would be that killer mentality. So when you look at a fighter in the second fight, Jonas Billarino kind of played around a little bit, was working on, you could definitely tell he was a martial artist. It felt like he was just feeling the martial arts out there. And then he lands that stunning spinning wheel kick at the very end. Was there a point where you considered bringing him? I know a lot of us out here thought for sure he was going to.
I literally looked at Mick and Sean and said I was 100% not interested until right now. Now I don't know what I am. Now I'm confused, because obviously you saw the kid has speed in his hands. He's a talented guy. The spinning kick was a spectacular finish. Plus, you could tell he's fighting a guy who has a great chin because he took some big shots in there. And even the spinning wheel kick didn't knock him out, but hurt him and had him on crazy legs. The kid's stock went up tonight. He's 9-1. Maybe one of these other organizations pick him up, which we talked about before. They're not very bright, so they probably won't. Which he'll pick up a couple of fights in one of the, in LFA or one of those type of shows, and we'll take a look at him again. He definitely pulling off that landing that kick tonight, put him in a good spot. He's a free agent right now. He can do what he wants, and we'll look at him again.
All right, and last thing for me, Anaheim, should we expect that at the beginning of the year, January, and the early part of the year, the fight nights and that sort of thing are going to still be here at the Apex?
Yeah. I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to go into some of these other markets. I don't trust them yet. Once I feel like some of these other markets get their shit together, then I'll do it. But I don't feel like they do right now. I'm going to stick with the places that I know and that I'm comfortable in. And obviously, there's nothing more comfortable than this. I don't want to stay this comfortable. I've said to you guys many times, but it works for right now.
And I know I said that was my last one, so I apologize. You, in Abu Dhabi, you were teasing and sort of saying that there was a big announcement that was going to happen. I can't remember if you ever actually, outside of the citizenship, if the big announcement came out.
We didn't get it done yet, so great meeting. It's all coming together soon. I will have it soon. Unfortunately, believe me, I was chomping at the bit to tell you guys. I've been chomping at the bit for 6 months to tell you, but it didn't work out.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana.
Thanks. Go ahead.
You can give us a little teaser.
What's that?
Give us a little teaser.
Yeah. I know. I've been teasing it, but I got nothing for you. We don't have a deal, so I can't talk about anything that we don't have a deal on.
I'm wondering if, looking back on this season, is there anything that you regret as far as, hey, there was a fighter, maybe I should have signed him, or you went a little too crazy and signed too many fighters? Is there anything that you look back on and maybe wish you'd done different?
No. I'm really happy with where we're at. It makes sense. We were right around season 4, 37. Tonight's 2 signings put us over by 2. which takes us to probably close to 700 fighters under contract now. So I'm good.
You know, a lot of fans said early in the season that you were signing a lot of people that maybe they wouldn't have. And then this fight card, people were saying you didn't sign people they would have. Was that kind of a conscious choice of, hey, this is the end of it, I'm wrapping up, maybe I got to be a little bit more?
Well, let me ask you this. Like I ask you guys every time somebody says something, do you think I was wrong tonight with any of my picks?
No.
Do you think I should have signed any of these other guys tonight? I mean, nobody really stood out as special. Like, the main event, that kid's definitely special. He's 21 years old, fighting a 29-year-old. It's basically a boy fighting a man. You saw in the first round how that fight was going. You saw how this kid kept his composure, ends up breaking him and winning the fight, and wins the next 2 rounds. And he was the biggest underdog on the card tonight. And after the first round with in-round betting, I guarantee he was a massive underdog after the first round, and he pulled it out and he won the fight. And then the only other massive underdog on the card was the other one that I signed, Johan, who was a 5-1. He was a 5-1 dog. You know, it could have even been bigger than that, as far as I know. All I know is the information I have here. And then he comes and wins by knockout. And he beats a guy with 18 amateur fights and undefeated as a pro, 6-0. I mean, those were the 2 kids that looked special and stood out tonight.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dana, congrats on another great show.
Thank you.
A tremendous season, yes, sir. Could, if it wasn't for the ESPN Plus platform, could Dana White Contender Series have come about sooner, or it needed to be just the right place, the right time with the digital?
Yeah, I think it was the right place and the right. I mean, we had the Ultimate Fighter for all those years, which, you know, is still an incredible, platform for kids to, you learn who they are. But it's the hardest thing that you will ever go through. That's why so many of these kids that come off end up becoming world champions, off the Ultimate Fighter. It's a pressure cooker. You have to keep making weight. You have to fight your way out of the house with all these guys you're training and living with. It's the toughest thing out there. Then came Looking for a Fight, where we started going out and looking, and really looking for a fight is what gave me the idea for the Contender Series. We would go out and see these shows, and there'd be maybe a couple of good fights in the night. So I started thinking, imagine if we went out and got all the best kids from all these small shows, put them together, and absolutely tried to find the best of the best. And we did it. I mean, from the first episode of season 1, this thing was like, holy shit, yeah, this was a good idea.
Excellent. I totally agree. And with the Performance Institutes in Mexico, Puerto Rico, I can't wait for season 6. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but does that mean that we're going to see seasons coming up sooner than later with Mexico?
No. So really, if you really look, forget about what we did through the pandemic, okay? What we did through the pandemic, nobody else did. And nobody had a true bubble like we did during the pandemic, number one. And we had the lowest rate of, people turning up with COVID, by far. I think the NBA had 8%, and they were thrilled. We had like 0.008%. Then you look at putting together this show coming out of the pandemic when all those other shows, small shows, weren't operating. You know what I mean? That's where the talent comes from. So to be able to pull this off anyway, I don't remember what the hell you asked me. What was your question?
Just if the Performance Institutes with Puerto Rico, Mexico.
Thank you. So the other thing is, and I'll get you guys the information soon. We got a place in Mexico. So we're starting to roll on that Performance Institute down there. And I told you, once everything starts to get going, I want one in Puerto Rico and I want one in Africa. So sooner than later, we will get that done too. But we finally got Mexico going, and we'll get that place built ASAP.
That sounds great. Let me circle back to the awesome free numbered event with Jerry as an alternate. In case I missed it, he is going to be fighting for the title next, challenging Glover, or what's the plan for Glover?
Who is?
With Jerry, who had weighed in to be an alternate.
Who? Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
So I'm assuming he's up next to challenge Glover for the belt?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. And you mentioned earlier some records that you broke in the UFC. Can you touch on that? What did you, with the social media going crazy, and like what
Yeah,
was?
so Hamzat Chimaev's walkout, the social team followed him walking from his dressing room. It broke the all-time Instagram live record for UFC. And then I had like 4 of the top 5 biggest posts ever on my social media, you know? So you know, all that shit just continues to go like that for us. Yeah.
Excellent. And then we saw Hasbullah there. I'm sure that was just a no-brainer because people are calling UFC that it went viral, and it's, you know, just clicking with these other worlds. Do we see more of that happening in the future with other stars from different places showing up to
You want to hear something crazy? Yeah, so the Hasbullah stuff is off the charts, massive. It's crazy. Today I get a FaceTime from Mark Wahlberg asking if I can hook up for his daughter to meet Hasbullah.
All right.
Fucking crazy is that? You know, and it's not, I'm assuming that Wahlberg's daughter isn't a huge MMA fan, you know, but she knows who Hasbullah is and likes him enough to have her dad reach out to me to try to see if I can set it up a meeting.
That's awesome. And lastly, you mentioned the markets that are safe. So can we assume that's Texas, Vegas, California, and Florida? The safe.
Arizona.
Okay, excellent.
Yep. Abu Dhabi.
Sounds great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dana. Great season. And looks like next Saturday, MSG, we're going to have 6 fighters, maybe 5 fighters from Contender Series. Did you expect like Contender Series providing good fighters for good cards so fast?
Has this been successful in providing good fighters on good cards fast? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 156 kids now that came off this show, and you know, there's so many of these kids that I'm excited to see fight in the UFC. I mean, think about the fights that you've seen in this building so far from the Contender Series. So, yeah, there's some kids that I'm super excited about to get them in here and see what they look like. So what I do is, if I see a kid in here and he looks unbelievable, right, and he's ready to go in the UFC, I say, hit me up as soon as you're healthy. When you're 100% healthy, let me know, and we'll get you on a card. So, I mean, you got people falling off with COVID, you got injuries, you got all these things going on. So if I can turn these kids around quickly and get them on a show, I'm going to do it.
Awesome. Talking about the highlights from this season, second fight of the night, we had like a double knee, illegal knee at the same time. Have you ever watched this before?
Yeah, no. So me, Mick, and Sean have never seen it before. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it before, but we had never seen it before. That's probably going to make ESPN's not top 10.
Okay, my last question, following Armando. Glover Teixeira, last Saturday, Charles do Bronx, Charles Oliveira, plus Brandon Moreno. Do you think 2021 on UFC, the sign of the season is fighters overcoming, being able to become champion after years and years, 10 years, 20 years like Glover? That's the signature from 2021.
Yeah, Glover's had an interesting run here. You know, he's faced a lot of adversity, from visas to losses, you know, to personal problems. He's faced a lot of adversity, man, and he stayed the course, never gave up on himself, and now he's the world champ at light heavyweight. So it's a very cool story, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. See you guys in New York.
That was good fun.